Before we begin, if you like what you hear on the Tan and J-Man Show, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and go ahead and click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We encourage you to interact with us and keep up to date with the Tan and J-Man Show on social media by liking our Facebook page and following us on Twitter and Instagram at Tan and J-Man Show. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy another episode of the Tan and J-Man Show with your hosts Tanner Lee and Josh the J-Man Munt. For the 187th time, welcome back to the Tan and J-Man Show.
487?
187th time.
For the 100. Okay.
For the 187th time. That's a mouthful.
Sorry.
Welcome back to the Tan and J-Man Show. Thanks for listening wherever you're listening to this podcast. If it's on Apple Podcasts, please give us a rating and review. That helps us out. If we get up to 50 reviews, or 50 ratings, excuse me, not reviews, ratings, we'll do some sort of giveaway. Last time I checked, we're quite a ways away. But and if you're watching on the ISC Sports Network, thanks for tuning in. We're excited to keep you up to date in the latest of the world of sports and entertain for the next hour or so. Tanner Lee here. Josh the J-Man Munt to my right.
J-Man!
What's going on?
Not much. It's a pretty nice day out.
Nice
weather. Little breeze. Probably our last day for about a week with it being not scorching.
You're probably right. Probably right. And the Tan and J-Man Show is brought to you by, like it is every week, The Damn Landing. Whether you want an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, hand-breaded tenderloin, seafood, craft beer, or a handcrafted cocktail, The Damn Landing is the place to be. The Damn Landing is a bar and grill located on beautiful Lake Manitou that focuses on freshness and quality. And, of course, you got the damn smoke. So you got barbecue, you got steaks, you got the ribs that sell out really fast every weekend. So make sure to call ahead on those. In addition, you can wash any of that or any of their other great food down with one of their 16 beers on tap, including a constant rotation of today's best microbrews and domestic flavors, or a handcrafted cocktail made using fresh ingredients. Taking them fantastic views of Lake Manitou in their beer garden or outdoor bar area, which you can enjoy right now. Whether it be by boat or by wheels, the Damn Landing is the place to be, located at 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester. Their phone number is 574-223-8950.
Beautiful. I think we switched it up last week and went on this day first.
We did. Do you want to go? Want to do that again?
No.
Okay.
Kind of have my trivia question ready.
Well, all right.
It's a Major League Baseball trivia question that I saw on the Twitter. What player since 1969 played the most seasons playing for a team that won the division? That won a division.
Okay.
Most seasons playing for a team that won a division. What player since 1969?
I was scared one guy popped my head right away, and I'm guessing he's wrong since he popped in my head so easily.
You've been on an enormous hot streak.
I don't know, what, 2 in a row?
That's a hot streak for you, let's be honest.
Yeah, that hot streak for the show, not just for me.
Yeah. After the past couple birdie bogeys you've given me, I have no room to talk because I am an embarrassment to the craft.
And I do have 2 trivia questions for you tonight, even though they won't count as birdie bogeys. Do you want me to give them to you now or wait till later?
Let's wait till later.
All right. That will give you no time to prepare.
You know, you always say you got the whole show to think about it, but I never think about it until you
actually
talk
about other topics.
Yeah, until you bring it back up again. So maybe I'll have less time to think about it, and it'll help me out.
Yeah, switch it up. You need all the help you can get.
I really do. Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC. Fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce from Bryce and Katie Romine from Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook. Follow them on Instagram. Check out their website, noblegnomellc.com. They will be at the Kosciuszko County Farmers Market on Saturday, where they will have lettuce heads, salad mix, radishes, carrots, kale, rhubarb, and asparagus. Anything else?
I think you covered it. They had a pretty cool looking video on their Facebook page over the weekend from the
How the heck did I miss that?
County Farmers Market. I don't know.
Get your veggies.
You're gonna get stuck on that one of these days. You're just gonna pause and
I'm just gonna be frozen for the whole show.
You're gonna throw your flow.
I'm gonna have the yips. Not that I have much flow to begin with.
That is true. All right, you ready for some on this day?
Let's hear it. I'll try not to look at your computer because I know you have some.
Yeah, this might be one of our longest on this day segments of all time.
Read that far away anyway.
So get ready, strap in, get a beverage, whatever you need.
Strap it on. That's what the Cubs' motto was coming into the season. And
that's not one of the best mottos I've ever heard.
No, it's terrible.
It's not a good one. I got to find which one I want to start. Oh, here's a good one. On this day in 1928, Ty Cobb.
He was a jerk.
Yes, we've talked about him a few times on the podcast. At the age of 41, he stole home for the 50th and final time of his career.
They did that more back in the day.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's absurd.
That's absurd.
Really high number.
Yeah.
Let's see here. On this day in 1948, the first night game at Briggs Stadium in Detroit was held. The Tigers beat the Philadelphia A's 4-1.
What stadium?
Briggs.
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 Was that not?
Wasn't Tiger Stadium. Tiger Stadium then came Comerica.
Well, Tiger Stadium was torn down and they built
Comerica. Yeah.
Why was it? What year was that?
1948.
Man, I don't like it.
On this day in 1953, New York Yankees first baseman Johnny Mize is the 93rd MLB player to get 2,000 hits. I wouldn't have guessed there was 93 MLB players by 1953 to get 2,000 hits.
What? Say that one again. Sorry, I was distracted.
You're trying to fact check me on something I find on the website onthisday.com.
It was Tiger Stadium, just had a different name from 1938 to 1960.
Don't
Don't
fact check onthisday.com.
My apologies.
I said on this day in 1953, New York Yankees first baseman Johnny Mize became the 93rd MLB player to get 2,000 hits. I'm surprised there was that many people to get 2,000 hits by that year.
Say that again?
No, you're done. You're getting on my last nerve already, J-Man, and we're like 7 minutes into the show.
Johnny Mize.
Well, I got one that's not on this list, and that is on this day in what year is it? 1964. The Cubs traded Lou Brock to the Cardinals. Didn't work out so well for the Cubs.
It's a real bad trade.
So that leads me to ask you this. Can you think of other trades throughout sports that went really badly for one team?
I was really hoping you were going to ask me who they traded him for. It was Ernie Broglio. I was hoping that was going to be one of your trivia questions to me. That went really bad for teams. Well, we'll get into this a little later, but the A's trading Mark McGwire to the Cardinals was really bad for the A's because they got nothing. Honestly, a bunch of Cubs trades come to mind. Cubs acquired Aramis Ramirez and Kenny Lofton for like Bobby Hill. That was a good one. Traded Hesop Choi for Derek Lee straight up, essentially. Anthony Rizzo for Andrew Kashner. Jake Arrieta and Pedro Strop for Steve Clevenger and Scott Feldman. So those are some that worked out in the Cubs' favor.
I got some here. How about Randy Johnson from Montreal to Seattle?
Yeah.
How about Vlade Divac for Kobe Bryant?
Yeah, that was a bad one.
How about Mets sending Nolan Ryan and 3 others to the Angels for Jim Fregosi, I believe is how you pronounce his last name? How about John Elway for Mark Herman and Chris Hinton?
See, that was a little different because he would not put on the hat, so.
But the value they got wasn't there.
Yes.
Even though Chris Hinton wasn't a bad tackle.
Colts
just wasn't John Elway.
Colts had very little leverage in that one. So
how about the Colts trading for Trent Richardson?
That was a bad one. Gave up number 2 or 3
I don't know.
pick?
Whatever it was. It was
a top 5 pick.
Too much in the hindsight. How about your boy Ricky Williams in the Saints? He was a good player, but was he worth giving up your whole draft?
No. Dolphins did the same thing to trade for him. They gave up 2 first-round picks for him. It's bad.
Okay, what else do we got here? I really talked this up, and now I'm forgetting. I know a lot of them are later on in the years here. Okay, here's one. On this day in 1980, the U.S. Open was held. Who won?
Gary Player.
Good guess, but how about Jack Nicklaus?
See, I was thinking you were trying to throw me off with a hard...
he won his 4th U.S. Open title.
That would have been a much better guess, but I wanted to be different, and it backfired, like usual.
Here's a trade. On this day in 1983, the Cardinals traded Keith Hernandez to the Mets for Neil Allen and Rick Ownby? Ownby, O-W-N-B-E-Y?
That wasn't a very good trade either.
No, was not. On this day in 1986, the U.S. Open was held at Shinnecock Hills Golf Club. Who won that one?
86?
Yep.
Let's go with Gary Player.
Raymond Floyd.
Never
won
heard
his
of him.
fourth and final major, 2 strokes ahead of Chip Beck and Lanny Watkins. On this day in 1994, the New York Giants cut Super Bowl MVP quarterback Phil Simms after 15 years of service with the NFL club.
94, huh?
Yep.
He played anywhere after that?
I don't think he did. I could be wrong, though. That's just off the top of my head. On this day in 1997, the U.S. Open was won by who at Congressional Country Club?
What year?
97. You've heard of this guy. He's still playing today.
Okay.
Hall of Famer.
I'm going to go with Tiger Woods.
Good guess, but no. Ernie Els won his second Open title, the second of his 4 major championships.
You should have said, isn't he South African?
Yeah.
You should have said South African.
I should have, because you might have guessed Gary Player again.
I thought Gary Player was American.
Nope.
My bad.
1 stroke ahead of runner-up Colin Montgomery. On this day in 2001, the 55th NBA championship was won by who?
2001?
Yes.
That is the Los Angeles Lakers.
Who did they beat?
2001?
Yes.
Sixers.
Yes, 4-1. Kobe Bryant stepped over Teron Lue. No, Iverson stepped over Teron Lue in that series.
That's a quadruple bogey for
That's
you
bad.
for screwing that
Had it
one.
in my mind. And who won the 57th NBA championship in 2003?
2003. That would be the San Antonio Spurs.
Who did they beat?
Don't know.
New Jersey Nets.
Oh,
Nets
that
lost
was one of their.
back-to-back.
Yeah.
4-2. On this day in 2003, who won the U.S. Open, played at Olympia Fields Country Club?
I'm going to go with Phil Mickelson.
Good guess. But Jim Furyk won his only major title by 3 strokes.
See the John Gross lookalike?
Yes. Good comparison. Who won the 58th NBA championship on this day in 2004?
The Detroit Pistons.
Who did they beat?
The Los Angeles Lakers.
Yep. On this day in 2011, who won the Stanley Cup?
It wasn't the Blackhawks. They were 10 something else and something else. LA Kings.
Boston Bruins defeated the Vancouver Canucks. Actually defeated them 4-0 to win the series 4-3. I about said they swept it. It ended the Bruins' 39-year Stanley Cup drought. Who won the U.S. Open on this day in 2014 at Pinehurst?
That would...
He didn't just win. He dominated. He led wire to wire and won by 8 strokes.
Give me Jordan Spieth.
Martin Keimer. He beat runners-up Eric Compton and Ricky Fowler. On this day in 2014, who won the 68th NBA championship?
2014?
Yep.
Man. Is that the Heat?
He got dominated by the Spurs 4-1.
It's the year before they beat the Spurs.
Those years get pretty choppy.
They do.
Yep. On this day in 2015, who won the Stanley Cup?
15?
15.
LA Kings.
Chicago Blackhawks.
They won in 15 too?
Defeated the Tampa Bay Lightning 2-0 for a 4-2 victory.
I remember that
the
one.
Blackhawks' 6th championship.
3 in 5 years. Kind of like the
On this day in 2019, in a blockbuster NBA trade, the New Orleans Pelicans send forward Anthony Davis to the LA Lakers for Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, and 3 future first-round draft picks, including 2019 number 4 overall.
Did the Pelicans use that number 4 overall?
No.
Did they trade it to?
Yeah, but I don't remember to who. Because they got Zion, number 1.
Yeah.
On this day, also last year in 2019, there was a baseball jersey belonging to Babe Ruth. It became the most expensive sports memorabilia item when it sold for $5.64 million at an auction in New York.
It's a lot of money.
That's a lot of cash for a jersey. For anything, but for a jersey. And the On This Day segment is brought to you by, like it is every week, Proforma Print House. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Proforma Print House has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all of your printing needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company. You can contact them today at 574-210-3815. Yeah, maybe not the longest on this day. I might have played it up a little bit, but still pretty long one.
Pretty good.
It was probably the most guessed.
I like
most
those.
Topics we had where you could guess at.
Yeah.
So those are always fun.
Those are my favorites.
But we got a lot of baseball to talk about
baseball.
tonight. Something that's right up your alley. You got a baseball shirt on. It's your favorite sport. Last night, we went back in time a little bit to the summer of 1998, or the baseball season, but mainly the summer, in the ESPN 30 for 30 documentary called Long Gone Summer, featuring Mark McGwire of the St. Louis Cardinals, Sammy Sosa of the Chicago Cubs, battling it out for Roger Maris's single-season home run record, which ended up with Sosa hitting 66, winning MVP and making the playoffs, though McGwire hitting 70 and not making the playoffs, not winning MVP. Some of your thoughts and notes, takeaways from last night. Did you enjoy it, first off?
I'm going to get to that. I actually rated it out of 10.
Oh, boy.
So I got a few notes here. As a baseball fan, it was fine. It was cool to see all the home runs. They had nostalgic footage and all that. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, one thing I didn't like about it, I got sick and tired of the crowd shots of a recent crowd.
Ooh,
and then
I'm getting to that.
Back to the highlights. That was ridiculous.
It was awful.
I understand they probably can't get too many crowd shots from back in 98, but that made it cheesy.
Yeah, you saw multiple Chris Bryant jerseys in the stands. He was 6 years old.
You could tell by the definition of the picture. Yeah, that was annoying.
It was sloppy. As a Cubs fan, it was meh. They told us it was going to be about the home run chase, but it was pretty much just a documentary about McGwire with some Sosa sprinkled in. The thing that really annoyed me was they made it appear as if Sammy just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, they really did.
And McGwire said, I had no idea who he even was, which is just false. Sosa became the first Cub to hit 30 homers.
They did mention that.
And steal 30 bases when he did it in a season, when he did it in 93.
They did mention that.
He was also an all-star and hit 36 homers in 95, hit 40 homers in just 124 games in 96, and he hit 36 homers in 97. So that just wasn't true that he was just this no-name
Yeah, I had
kind
this
of guy.
This VHS tape. Yes, I'm old enough to remember VHS tapes and watch VHS tapes of home run hitters. And it was
still own a VCR? Your parents own a VCR?
No.
I don't think
my grandparents do, but they don't use it. But it was made in 96 with all these home run hitters. And he was featured on there, and it was made in 96. Yeah. So they also had weird guys like Brady Anderson on there. But
Brady Anderson went from hitting like 8, 10, 12 homers, hits 50, then he's back to 20, Yeah. He was a steroid guy.
Yes.
But as a documentary enthusiast like myself, it wasn't a good documentary at all. I didn't find it really compelling or interesting. In fact, it was kind of boring. They solely focused on McGwire, as I said, which
you should have expected that going in.
Yeah, because I had read reviews where McGwire was the Jordan of this documentary, which is fine. He won the home run race, but when you say it's going to be about the home run chase, it was a bunch of McGwire, then Sosa hit a homer, then they go to a Cardinal, Cardinal grounds crew guy, giving an interview. It just kind of bounced around.
Well, Ian, I think part of it why they focus so much on McGwire, not only did he hit the 70 and have the record, is he has come out and admitted to steroid use, and Sosa technically has not.
He still hasn't. I think the closest we're going to get, and he said it at the end when talking about whether he wants to come back to Chicago, and he says, of course I do. And then they asked him about the Ricketts not really wanting him back, and he said, everyone was doing it back then, so why am I the one getting
much confessed right there.
But he's never probably going to say he did it. But as I said, they focused on McGwire, which I knew going in. And it was a Cardinal fan that did the documentary, so I should have known. But I think it was kind of a mistake. He's kind of a boring guy.
He's not a media person.
No.
He doesn't like media.
I kind of compared him to Scottie Pippen last night. He's more interesting than Scottie Pippen. Scottie might be the boringest human I've ever seen in a
Southern laugh. That was awful.
Were you trying to do Kawhi Leonard there?
Yeah, it sounded like it did. I was trying to do Scotty's like Arkansas laugh, and that was just awful. Like a redo.
McGuire's pretty boring. He had a pretty typical baseball upbringing, too.
Yeah.
Lived in an affluent neighborhood, played baseball growing up. Best player in high school, goes to USC, gets drafted in the first round. I think Sosa's just the far more interesting kind of character, and I wish they would have had a little more from him. He came from nothing in the Dominican. A story I actually read afterwards, which they didn't even mention in the documentary, was the Phillies wanted to sign him, but he was only 15 years old, and he wasn't eligible to sign for another year. So the scout literally that was down there in the Dominican hid him from any other team, but then the scout got fired.
Oops.
So Sosa ends up signing with the Rangers, where he started his career. Then future President George W. Bush is the one that signed off on the trade to send him to the White Sox.
And that was
a very, very small part of it at the end, but it seems like they could have played that up a little more. They showed Sammy, and I mentioned this in my notes, they showed Sammy hitting a homer, and the crowd shots would be of recent games.
Yeah, that was just annoying.
Saw Chris Bryant jerseys in the stands. I think that was just kind of sloppy. It's like they were trying to fool us, and every single person caught it.
You would think, if you paid close attention, you should have caught it, but I guarantee there was people who didn't.
Right. I also thought the talking heads and interviews weren't that great either. As I said, the grounds crew guy, he kind of creeped me out a little bit. There was just something about him. He was really young when he got to 62. He was probably 20, maybe 19, 20. It was just almost a pointless interview in my opinion. Honestly, the most interesting guy they interviewed was Steve Traxel, who gave it up. He was most interesting, but then they'd show homers and then show the grounds crew guy talking about it. They also, I thought, kind of glossed over the steroid issue, and when they did bring it up, they showed Barry Bonds first.
Yep.
And like they made McGuire and Sosa out to be kind of or mainly McGuire to be like the hero of this thing, and they just kind of blamed Barry Bonds, but Bonds came after them, and when he did the 73 homers.
Well, I had to think when McGuire hit one of those homers, and they showed, like you said, they showed Bonds. It looked like he was like they were panning to the villain.
Yeah.
Too, and the look on his face, you had to wonder if he's thinking, "What can I do to get to these guys' level?"
Absolutely. Which he was already at their level.
He was already a 40 home run hitter, but
he didn't need to do steroids at all. I just thought they could have made it such a more compelling home run chase documentary. I mean, they'd show McGuire hitting all these homers, but then showed the leaderboard, and Sosa's right up there with him. Like, they just almost forgot about Sosa. And I didn't even really remember Sosa took the lead with 3 games to play, and then McGuire hit 5 homers in 3 games, which is just
there
insane.
Is some conspiracy theories that McGuire might have talked to the Expos before that series and pretty much said, I don't want Sammy to win this, but who knows?
It was really hyped, and it did not live up to my hype. Now, the last sports documentary I watched was The Last Dance, which might end up being the greatest sports documentary of all time.
Yeah.
So this one obviously didn't measure up. But overall, I gave it a 4 out of 10.
Yeah,
it was honestly one of the worst 30 for 30s I've watched.
I was surprised. I did not know until yesterday afternoon that was 2 hours. I thought it was an hour.
They could have easily done it in an hour. I mean, they spent, 40 minutes on McGuire getting drafted and coming up with the A's and all that, and it wasn't necessary.
Yeah. I actually learned, I did not know McGuire was traded to the Cardinals. I just thought he was a free agent acquisition. Nope. So I learned that. I had forgotten. It makes sense now, knowing the timeline when he retired and when he at traded. I forgot that he was a Cardinal for such a short period of time. It was only 4.5 years. He played a lot longer in Oakland, and you just don't remember that really. Or at least I don't, 'cause I'm too young.
I really wish they could have gotten Jose Canseco on there.
Yeah, I thought he was going to make an appearance.
That would
have
been fun. Griffey didn't even make an appearance. He made an appearance in highlights, but it would have been interesting.
56 homers in 98.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to hear his thoughts on
Griffey, I would say, was more popular than both those guys. To the mainstream sports fan, Griffey was the coolest of the cool athletes.
Kid, yeah.
Backwards hat, sweetest swing in baseball. just was cool. But like you were talking, Sammy was the man in Chicago. I mean, there was Michael Jordan who just ended the dynasty, and then it was Sammy was the man because the Blackhawks sucked, the Bulls were gonna suck, the Bears sucked, White Sox sucked. They all sucked except, well, the Cubs did until that year.
The Cubs were awful even after that year, too. It was just kind of a one-year thing. But Sosa was the guy in Chicago. There was no one else. After Jordan, he was the Michael Jordan.
And it's really sad the way it ended.
Super sad.
I mean, McGuire was the guy in St. Louis, of course. And then the Rams' success came after that, but the Blues weren't doing anything at the time. They don't have a basketball franchise. But, yeah, it's just interesting that, of course, I mean, Griffey, 56 is still 10 behind Sosa and 14 behind McGuire, but that's still a heck of a year. And even the 98 Yankees, great team, they get lost in the shuffle because 98 is just remembered as the home run derby of the season.
The Yankees won the – do you remember how many games they won? Yankees?
Was it 115?
I think that was the year before, or maybe 96.
That was 99, actually, I think.
They won 114 games in 98.
I said 115.
114 and 48 in 98.
Yeah, so arguably the best team ever. And
no one remembers.
No one talks about them.
They honestly could be considered the greatest team in
Joe
the history
Torre
of baseball.
said that today, that they get forgotten about quite a bit. But
the most wins in a season ever is 116, and the Cubs won the World Series when they did it in 1908 or
so
07.
Besides
but
that,
the Mariners did it, and they got put out by the Yankees.
So consider that. You had the Yankees winning that many games and the home run chase. That season definitely saved baseball. That
saved baseball, which is a great segue into our next topic.
I really was hoping you would just smooth into it without saying that's a great segue. I was teeing it up for you.
I know it.
Rookie over here. Been doing this how long?
See, it was going to be smooth, and then you screwed it up by having to say that. So it's your fault. It's your fault.
I'll take 6-1.
Who's gonna save baseball this time? I don't know if it's savable. I really don't know if it's savable.
As a casual baseball fan, I am so uninterested right now in these negotiations. I'm exhausted by them. I can't imagine how you're feeling because you're a diehard.
The negotiations are over. The owners came out with a new proposal, a proposal that was the exact same as the previous ones, just worded different to try to confuse or make it seem like it's a better proposal to the fans. The players know what the owners are doing. And the MLB Players Association said, we're not going to give you another proposal. Tell us when and where.
Yeah.
When to report, or where to report, when to report, when we're going to start. They gave a deadline of today, and the only thing we've heard today was from the worst commissioner in the history of professional sports.
And you've changed your tune on that lately.
Rob, I've always thought that.
Well, I mean, maybe not when he first started, because you were always on Goodell, but now you've changed your tune on that. That's
yes, because I didn't realize how awful Rob Manfred was going to be.
Yeah.
He said, after last week saying there will 100% be a Major League season, today he says, I'm not certain there's going to, not 100% certain there's going to be a Major League season.
I don't know, man.
In a letter today, Major League Baseball told the MLBPA there would be no 2020 season unless the players waived any legal claims against the league, which just translates to, we won't play unless you waive a potential grievance. So, if they don't waive their grievance, which the Players Association is going to file a grievance against them, as they should. The billionaire owners are holding them hostage right now. They're going to stop paying them eventually.
It's breaking news right here. Manfred not confident in 2020 season.
If they don't waive the grievance, we're not going to have a season, and this will be a nonstop, long court case that the owners are going to lose so much more money because they're not going to win it. Because in March, there was like a handshake agreement where the players are not required to play unless they get full prorated salaries. That's what the thing was. The owners are now saying, well, that wasn't our agreed upon deal. They've gotten lawyers involved, and lawyers have said, no, the Major League Baseball Players Association does not have to play unless they get full prorated. They're going to lose, the MLB is going to lose two grievances. They're going to lose the one the players file against them, And then the owners will in turn file one against the players, and they're going to lose that one. They're going to lose so many more millions of dollars than they would have if they would have just agreed to a full prorated salary over 81 games. It is hilarious.
They could have been the first sport back on TV, could have been getting great ratings, could have maybe gained some fans they lost years ago.
Yep.
Now they're losing fans. And are you going to get them back next year?
No. I'm to the point where I want to almost see Major League Baseball burn. Just to see those owners.
Well, at least you've seen the Cubs win a World Series.
I have.
I was talking to somebody. I was talking to my cousin's husband over the weekend, and he goes, I used to really love baseball, but now, he goes, if it folds, it folds. He goes, I saw the Cubs win the World Series, so I don't know if he truly meant that or not, but that's what he was saying.
I personally want the players to just stand up and lead or start a league themselves.
Yeah.
Screw the owners. We're going to play wherever we need to play. We'll play on high school fields. We're going to play without you. It obviously wouldn't happen. But I want the owners to lose so much money.
So
they can't afford Christmas presents.
Wow. All right. We're going there.
They're greedy. It is disgusting the way they're treating the players, the billionaire owners.
It is, but... And I'm on the player's side, but also trying to just look at this from an ordinary person who makes nowhere near $1 million. These players, a lot of them are making millions of dollars as well. There's a lot of people out there right now, especially in tough times, don't have a job.
Correct.
So some of those people are saying, play the game, even if you're not getting paid your whole salary.
I get that, but I will never understand why people are on the billionaire owner side of this thing. The owners,
I would say that's people who think the athletes, and I'm not part of this group, but people that think athletes, well, I am to an extent, but people who think athletes are just getting paid too much money to begin with.
Which they are. I mean, they don't.
That's why I backed up and said I am.
Change lives.
Side, but
the owners couldn't care about anything except
making money. Yeah.
They might like baseball.
Maybe a few, but I don't know.
Even some love it, but
yeah.
All they care about is the bottom line.
Running like a business, which it is.
Here is what Tony Clark and the Major League Baseball Players Association said today. Players are disgusted that after Rob Manfred unequivocally told players and fans that there would 100% be a 2020 season, he has decided to go back on his word and is now threatening to cancel the entire season. Any implication that the Players Association has somehow delayed progress on health and safety protocols is completely false. As Rob has recently acknowledged, the parties are very, very close. This latest threat is just one more indication that Major League Baseball has been negotiating in bad faith since the beginning. This has also been about extracting additional pay cuts from players. This is just another day and another bad faith tactic in their ongoing campaign. The collective bargaining agreement is up after the 2022 season.
Mm-hmm. We talked about that a little bit last week.
What a way to go into the final 2 years of a collective bargaining agreement with this kind of distrust.
It's not like
the players are going to strike.
Yeah.
They're going to strike. The owners are just going to lose an incredible amount of money. The owners could not care less about the sport or the players or the fans. They would rather have a short-term gain than a long-term gain.
Yep.
Because this will do, as we've said, irrevocable damage to Major League Baseball.
Survived it once. Not sure if they can do it twice.
Yes. Which leads me. You have anything else to add?
No.
Just real quick. I actually have quite a few notes here, but I'll rifle through it. The MLB draft was held Wednesday and Thursday.
I got some grades up here from CBSSports.com.
Interesting. I have not looked at any grades, but just to recap the Cubs draft, in round one they took Ed Howard, a shortstop from Mount Carmel High School in Chicago. Also the alma mater of who? Mount Carmel High School, Chicago. Tracy Abrams. I knew you wouldn't get that one. Former Illinois point guard. He was starting shortstop at the Little League World Series.
For about a decade.
He did. For Jackie Robinson West. Solid tools across the board. Surefire shortstop. Simple right-handed swing. Makes repeated hard contact. Could develop into average power. Extreme high character. Strong work ethic, has a chance to be a star. Round 2 took Burl Caraway. Doesn't he sound like old Western sheriff or something? Burl Caraway. I'd never heard of him, but watched 10 seconds of video, and the first thing I thought was, Cubs just drafted Billy Wagner.
He has a massive fastball curveball combination, but isn't always able to locate.
Correct.
To this. He could pitch in the majors this season. That's what this says.
He's a lefty with the same body type as Wagner, 6 feet, 170 pounds. TrackMan data rated his fastball and his curveball as the 2 best pitches in the draft. Sits 96 to 98 and touches 100 while using deception. He does have some command and control issues, but if he can figure it out, he'll be fast-tracked. Round 3, Jordan Nwogu, outfielder from University of Michigan. He's a huge guy, 6'3", 235. Had a scholarship offer from Kent State to be a defensive end, but chose to walk on the baseball team at Michigan. Has an unorthodox right-handed swing, but has plus raw power and solid speed. Got down on strikeout percentage each year at Michigan and hit .321, .435, .557 with 12 homers, 16 steals on the Michigan team that went to the College World Series last year. Round 4, Luke Little, left-handed pitcher, San Jacinto Junior College. 6'8", 225 pounds, massive, throws really, really hard.
100 miles per hour, it says.
Touched 105 off the mound at a workout last month. That was obviously a hot gun. Not many people can do that. But sits in the 97, 99 range. Doesn't throw strikes. Doesn't have a very good breaking ball. But in the 4th round, kind of worth the risk. See if they can turn him into something. Round 5 took Cohen Moreno. 6'2", 180 pounds, right-handed pitcher out of Cary, North Carolina High School. Had a great summer last year and was thought of as a guy that could kind of propel himself into the 1st round with a good spring, but his season was canceled. Throws 87 to 93 with a curveball and feel for changeup. Overall, though, Cubs hired a new scouting director in Dan Kantrovich, who had been with the Cardinals and A's. So we didn't really know what his draft philosophy was, but for the first time in a long time, Cubs drafted guys with at least 1+ tool. You see the velocities from Burl Caraway and Little. But I mean, you had Midwestern Cowboy for Dakota Mathias. I got to come up with.
Got to come up with something. You can. You're creative when it comes to that.
Yeah. The power from Nwogu, the overall game from Howard. Jason McLeod used to be in charge of the drafts, and they've transitioned him to the major league side of things. And he said they used to be really conservative when drafting. Players had to check off like a bunch of boxes in order for them
kind of
to
seems ridiculous.
Take them. Yeah, especially for pitchers. They had to have plus command, throw a solid breaking ball, have ideal pitcher's body, and a lot of those guys they drafted had fringy tools. They
Can't clone Nolan Ryan, boys.
Right. They might be able to throw strikes, but a lot of their guys they'd take would be pumping in fastballs like 88 to 89 mile an hour, and that's just not going to fly in today's game. Past 2 drafts have been entirely different. Ryan Jensen was their 1st rounder last year. He's undersized. I think he's about the same size as Caraway, 6 feet, 6'1", 180 pounds maybe, but has 2+ pitches in his fastball and slider. Same with a guy last year, Michael McAveen, they took in the 3rd round through 100 mile an hour for University of Louisville. So overall, who knows?
They gave it a grade of a B.
Grade of a B. Draft grades are so stupid.
Hey.
Less so in like the NFL and NBA, but in baseball, you don't know for 3-4 years.
Well, I'm going to run through every team's grade real quick.
Let's hear it.
Diamondbacks, B. Braves, C.
How do they know?
Orioles, C.
Let me guess the Red Sox. The Red Sox punted their 1st round pick. They took a guy that wasn't projected to go in the top 100 picks, took him in the 1st round. I'm going to go with F for that. C. It's unoriginal.
White Sox, A.
Yeah, White Sox took a lefty, Garrett Crochet, I think, or Crotchet.
It took him in the 1st round, and righty Jared Kelly in the 2nd round. They're both consensus top 20 talents. Kelly looked like a potential top 10 pick at times prior to the shutdown this spring, and are potential impact players. Crochet?
I think it's Crochet.
Crochet could join the 50-man roster and pitch in the big leagues this summer. The White Sox had to go cheap on their 3rd, 4th, and 5th round picks to ensure they can sign Crochet and Kelly, but that's fine. The 2 top 20 talents in a 5-round draft is a big win. The Cincinnati Reds, big ol' C. So the Reds used their 1st round slot number 30 on Austin Hendrick, a prep outfielder with an explosive swing
of power
and star potential. Afterwards, the Reds took bets on right-handers Christian Roa and Bryce Bonin and catcher Jackson Miller. The Reds have invested a lot in their pitching development in recent years, so they have a chance to make this class look a lot better than it does on draft night.
Their 1st round pick, the comparison Andrew, our good buddy and Reds fan, kind of came up with, and I think is perfect for him, is Jay Bruce, left-handed hitter. He's not as big as Bruce, but has the same kind of power. I probably won't hit for a high average or anything, but that's an interesting one.
Indians, B. Colorado Rockies, A.
Their first-round pick's really good. Zach Veen. For some reason, both ESPN and Major League Baseball compare guys to superstars. Like they compared his swing to Cody Bell, a mix between Cody Bellinger and Christian Yelich. There was another guy, they showed his average exit velocity in high school, which was like 88 miles an hour. Then showed Mike Trout's average exit velocity in the major leagues last year, and Trout's was lower. Well, no kid. It's just stupid.
It says they landed 3 players in CBS Sports Top 50 in outfielders: Zach Veen, catcher Drew Romo, and right-hander Chris McMahon. Veen could mature into a middle-of-the-order hitter. Romo, a defensive-minded reserve or second division starter, and McMahon either a 3-pitch starter or reliever, depending on what his body permits. Landing Veen and McMahon where they did makes this a fine haul.
You know, canceling the baseball season might be worth it if I never have to hear you talk about the Rockies.
I'm just reading right what they wrote. Tigers got an A. The Astros got a C. You hate to see it.
Tigers murdered.
Royals, A.
A lot of people get good grades when they pick real high, which is what the Royals
which you should, if you hit them. Angels, B. Dodgers, B. Marlins, A. You're right, another high pick. Brewers, A.
Of course. They always.
Twins,
Disgusting.
C. Mets, A. Yankees, C. The Yankees forfeited their second and fifth round picks to sign Garrett Cole.
See, that's worth it.
Should be worth it.
That's worth it.
No, won't get to see a pitch this year.
Ever.
That would suck.
That would be awful.
So they had 3 picks in the second smallest bonus pool this year. They landed a first-round bat in Austin Wells with the 28th pick, but he might not remain at catcher long-term, which would take a bite out of his value. Third-rounder Trevor Hauver, I believe is how you pronounce his name, has a chance to carve out a career as a versatile super utility type with limited resources. The Yankees did about as well as they could have hoped.
Yeah, when you don't, the draft's usually 40 rounds.
Yeah, when you have 5.
They had 5 rounds because Rob Manfred.
And they forfeited 2 picks.
Rob Manfred is just a colossal idiot.
It's nicely put.
It could have been a lot worse.
A's, B. Phillies, B. Pirates, A.
Of course, all the central teams.
And I'm saying this for loyal listener and viewer Sean Shriver here. I want to read this. Pittsburgh kicked off its draft by taking Nick Gonzalez.
Oh, who
will end up at second base.
He could be their starting second baseman right now.
There are some concerns about his power potential, but the Buccos, I like that, the Buccos, were just out of...
You never heard that before?
Yeah, I have, but I forgot about it. We're just out of range to grab one of the top 5 players in the class. After Gonzalez, the Pirates went to the mound early and often, popping a trio of athletic arms in Carmen, not trying that one, Jared Jones and Nick Garcia.
Wladzinski.
They all ranked in the top 50.
The first round, Nick Garcia, is that?
Yeah.
It wasn't Garcia.
No, Nick Gonzalez. Nick Garcia was later on.
Yes, I saw Garcia on there. Nick Gonzalez is a top 5 hitter in the class. Played at New Mexico State, where it's high above sea level and just raked. But then he went down to sea level at UCLA, didn't perform as well. Of course, extremely small sample, 3 games. But
Cardinals A. So in the Central, Cardinals, Pirates, Brewers A, Cubs B, and Reds C. Reds are last again.
Always.
Padres B, Giants C, Mariners A, Rays A, Rangers D. That's the worst grade we've seen yet.
Yeah, I do remember people ripping on the Rangers.
Look at this one.
Yes, in the second round.
Evan Carter, a high school outfielder from Tennessee, was not among Baseball America's top 500 draft prospects. Talk about a surprise pick, it says.
I remember when he was drafted.
Wow.
I was watching MLB Network, and there was at least one scout guy that said, I have nothing on him, which is rare. It's extremely rare for scouting guys not to have at least something on it.
Blue Jays A and Nationals B, so...
Neato.
Rangers, you're the big losers.
They could end up being the big winners. We won't know for like 4 years.
But isn't it fun to talk about?
Not really.
Shut up.
You supposedly have a couple trivia questions for me.
Oh, dude, you want them
now? First off, I'm just going to...
Because I do have some golf to talk about.
Do my J-Man's book of prediction. Unless there's a golf tournament? Is there one this week?
Absolutely. There's one. There's one from like now to the end of the year.
This will be the J-Man's Book It prediction of the week. Give me Rory.
Let me make sure he's in the field first before you.
I thought you said he was.
I think he is, but yes, he is. You're safe.
Give me Rory.
You're safe.
J-Man's Book It prediction of the week is brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watching, Life, Home, Auto, Renters, Business, Workers' Comp and Farm. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watching@infb.com. He will be out of the office this week due to a family vacation, and he said he will have spotty Wi-Fi. If I can get to his page here on the Facebook.
I saw it on Twitter.
Well, I saw it on Facebook, so
You were already on Twitter. Could have pulled it up there.
I could have done that. He'll be out of the office until Monday, June 22nd, 2020. Obviously, that he's not going to be gone a year. I will have limited access to my email and cell phone. If you need immediate assistance, please contact Sarah at 765-482-0700 or email at sarah.hachlafi@infarmbureau.com.
You get all that?
I'm not repeating it.
Can you please repeat that? No. I will give you the trivia questions right now.
You will
Yeah,
or will not?
yeah, let's go ahead and get that out of the way. So I had two. These aren't birdie bogeys. They're just fun baseball trivia. My dad actually supplied them for you. So I got two of them. First one. Who has hit the most career walk-off home runs in MLB history?
Oh, man. That's a really good question. I'm going to say Alex Rodriguez. I don't know why.
Good question, or good answer, but no.
Who is it?
Jim Tomei with 13.
Wouldn't have guessed him. That's a good one.
Good hitter for a lot of teams.
Yeah, he's kind of underrated, even though he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. I think he's first ballot.
Second question. There's been two guys, I believe, is the question, since 1900 to have led the NL and AL in home runs during their career. One of the guys I will give you. His name was Sam Crawford.
Sam Crawford.
Who led the Reds in 1901 with 16.
I've heard of him, but would not have guessed him.
And he led the he led the Tigers with 7 in 1908. Who is the other guy to do this? Because McGuire did it. It was besides McGuire and Sam Crawford. There was one other guy.
Man, who has played in both leagues? Man, that's a good one. There's only one guy I can think of that played in both leagues.
There's a lot of baseball players that play.
I know, but only one guy. Is it a recent guy? Okay, thanks.
I don't know what you mean by recent. What do you mean by recent?
Is he still playing?
No.
Oh, crap. That takes. So I was thinking Miguel Cabrera.
No, good guess, but no.
Man, he's not playing. Who has retired? Has he retired recently?
No. Miguel Cabrera led the Tigers, or the AL with the Tigers in 08 with 37, and the Tigers in 2012 with 44.
He won the Triple Crown in 2012. I could not
double checking myself that he never led with the Browns.
I don't think he did because he wasn't there long enough.
He did not.
Man, I might go Jim Tomey again.
Good answer, but no. Jim Tomey led the NL in 03 with the Phillies with 47.
Okay, so he didn't do it the end because
I'm double checking.
Because the one I was concerned of was he didn't do it with the Phillies.
He did not do it with the Indians.
Cripes. Give it to me.
Crime Dog Fred McGriff.
I wouldn't even thought of him.
Led the AL in 1989 with the Blue Jays with 36. Then he led the NL.
With the Braves?
No. I got to find the team. With the Padres in 1992 with 35.
He did back-to-back years? Is that what it was? You said 93 or?
I said 92 with the Padres.
I thought you said 93 with the Blue Jays. But
and 89 with the Blue Jays.
Okay.
Yep.
Those are really good questions, and I am.
They were tough.
Yeah, I'm not mad at
I
myself
told
with
you
either
before
one.
when I said I had two questions, you probably wouldn't get either one because
Yeah.
they're very difficult. But golf is back live. Live golf tournament's back. It started last week with the Charles Schwab, or this past week with the Charles Schwab Challenge down in Fort Worth, Texas. One player mic'd up in field. That was on Thursday, Ricky Fowler, with a stellar 3-over par round while he's mic'd up. I'm sure he's wishing he wasn't mic'd up at the time.
Or he was wishing he could say whatever he wanted.
Sure. Which the mics just around the course did pick up a nice F-bomb from, I think it was Brooks Koepka in John Rahm's group, literally 15 seconds from when the Golf Channel came on live. Jim Nantz had to apologize to everybody, which was cool to see hear and see Jim Nantz Thursday through Sunday. That's pretty rare. Usually he's just a weekend guy. But a lot of big names played some really good golf and were crammed at the top of the leaderboard over the weekend.
Is this a tournament where there's usually a lot of
not this
big
many
names?
And that's the same thing this week because we're going to see guys
it's just because there
playing,
hasn't been.
Trying to get back into it, trying to get points. I mean, they missed. The last golf tournament was the last full 4 rounds. Wow, that's a mouthful. Golf tournament was, I think, March 8th before this week. So, but Daniel Berger ended up beating Colin Morikawa in a one-hole playoff because Morikawa missed a 3-foot putt to extend the playoff, giving Daniel Berger his 3rd career win. Weird fact, all 3 PGA Tour career wins for him have come on the second week of June, during the second week of June. Different tournament. Before this, it was a different one, usually played in the second week of June, but really interesting stat there. But you also had... They tied at 15 under until the playoff. You had Jason Kokrak at 14 under. Bryson DeChambeau, who looks like a darn linebacker. He has gained 20 pounds of muscle this past year, 40 in the past 3 years. He said he ended last season wearing a adult medium polo. He now wears adult extra large. That's going up 2 sizes. He looks like a linebacker.
In 2 years?
In 3 years, he's gained 40 pounds of muscle, 20 alone in the past year.
I'm working out, man.
Part of his workout was drinking 5 protein shakes a day. 5. But he led the field in driving yardage by at least 20 yards, just smashing the ball. But he didn't make enough putts at the end of the day, missed out on the playoff by a stroke, as did Justin Rose, as did Xander Schauffele, who led for a majority of the weekend and missed a short one on hole 17 yesterday. You had Bubba Watson, Patrick Reed at 13 under, Gary Woodland at 12 under, Jordan Spieth at 11 under after leading through the first 2 rounds. Kind of fell apart yesterday, and it's been well over 1,000 days since Jordan's last win, which is kind of mind-boggling. Justin Thomas was there at 11 under. Good old Avon, Indiana's Patrick Rogers, nice little 10 under par tournament. Glad to see him playing well. How did Rory McIlroy do? I know that's what everybody's wondering because the J-Man picked him. Well, Rory was looking good heading into the weekend. Even heading into yesterday, he had a chance. He shot a 4-over par 74 yesterday and finished tied for 32nd at 6 under.
He played really well Thursday, Friday, didn't he?
Yeah, he played really well Friday, 63. He went 68, 63, 69, 74. So that leads me into this week. You got the RBC Heritage that's played down in Harbortown, down in the Carolinas. Quick run through the top 15 power rankings according to PGAtour.com. We got Rory Sabatini at 15th, John Rahm at 14. He missed the cut. He, Ricky, and Phil were the 3 of the bigger names that missed the cut.
Wasn't he number 1 on the power rankings going in?
He was, in good memory. Daniel Berger, this past week's winner, 13th. Sungjae M, 12th. He had a good round over the weekend. Kevin Kistner, 11th. Matt Kuchar, 10th. Ian Poulter, 9th. Justin Rose, who missed out on the playoff by a stroke, 8th. Rory McIlroy, 7th. Colin Morikawa, who lost in the playoff, 6th. Patrick Reed, 5th. Xander Schauffele, who missed out on by a stroke, 4th. Justin Thomas, 3rd. Webb Simpson, 2nd. And Mr. Muscle himself, Bryson DeChambeau, number 1.
Number 1.
Which, that is who I'm picking, is Bryson DeChambeau.
You start calling me Mr. Muscle.
Because Bryson's got to figure out his game with his muscle as it goes on. I mean, he said he had only played 18 holes before this tournament over the quarantine, like a full 18 holes.
Wow.
Maybe some holes here and there as practice, but a full round. And, he came back and smashed it. And if he can make some putts, look out. I mean, I'm as big as Ricky Fowler fan as there is, but sometimes I wonder if Cobra/Pumas branding or pushing the wrong guy, because I'm not. I mean, Bryson's already got 5 wins, and he says some things that kind of can get taken out of context or come off a little cocky. I mean, he said yesterday, right after the round, they were interviewing him, and he said, "Oh, if I would have made some putts, I would have blew this thing open." I mean, I don't know if you just come out and say that. It's kind of arrogant. But
no kidding.
Yeah, I think a lot of guys could have said that. But
you take out those 3 plays, we're not down 24 at half.
Exactly. So, but I'm picking him. I think he's looking for a big year. But some notable names not in the power rankings: Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, Hideki Matsuyama, and defending champion CT Pan. Yeah, it should be another exciting tournament. It's going to be weird again without fans. You don't really notice them too much until there's like a big birdie or a big shot or something. It's just dead silent. But we'll see if more guys are mic'd up this week. PGA Tour reached out to a lot of players, but unfortunately Ricky was the only one to take him up on it, because like Justin Thomas said, I will not be mic'd up. Nobody needs to know what my caddy and I are talking about and what me and my fellow competitors are talking about.
Why?
Who cares? It's part of the fun's here, and I think the player interaction with their caddy. So
they saying something.
Yeah, they shouldn't
bad.
be. Yeah, exactly. So, but happy to see golf back, and I was happy that it was a good tournament and an exciting finish, and I was happy when into playoff and gave me something to watch meaningful yesterday.
I didn't watch
because I'm not a big race fan, so the IndyCar, NASCAR stuff's not really doing it.
Didn't even know that was on.
It's on every weekend now. NASCAR's running a couple races a week.
NASCAR.
So.
Do you want to hear Birdie Bogey?
I do.
Yeah.
And I honestly forgot what the question was. So,
what Major League Baseball player has played the most seasons playing for a team that won the division since 1969? I want to hear it again. Since 1969.
What players play on a team that won the most divisions?
Yes.
Oh, man. I got 3 guys that come to my mind, and I doubt any of them are right. 2 are pitchers, and 1's a position player.
Okay. It is either a pitcher or a position player.
Greg Maddux.
So close.
It's Tom Glavine, wasn't it?
No.
Smoltz.
Yes. John Smoltz, 14. So close. Maddux, 12. Because Maddux, of course, he pitched with the Cubs.
I'm mad at myself now.
Smoltz, 14. It's of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I'm mad at myself.
9 guys on this. They're either Braves or Yankees from the
Jeter
90s.
was one I was thinking position player.
Smoltz, 14. Jeter and Andrew Jones and Mariano Rivera, 13. Mark DeRosa, 12.
Wouldn't have guessed him.
Tom Glavine, 12. Chipper Jones, 12.
I didn't know if Glavine won many with the Mets, but
Greg Maddux, 12. And Jorge Posada, 12.
at least I was in the ballpark, but darn it.
The ballpark.
Big old bogey.
Let's give you a double.
Big old double. Wrap us up there, J-Man, for episode 187.
We appreciate you watching the Tan and J-Man Show live on the ISC Sports Network. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Noble Gnome LLC, Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watchering, as well as Performer Print House. Am I missing one? The Damn Landing. Sorry. For any of you podcast listeners, we will have a podcast coming out later in the week with an interview with 2020 Rochester High School graduate Isaiah Jackson, who's going to play football at Olivet Nazarene. So that will be out later in the week. Hope you guys have a great rest of the week, and we'll be back at it next Monday.